guest speaker who is bursting with love and kindness. She is a native of Zamboanga City, a Filipino, although the name does not sound like one. And I would rather talk about the social civic work. She is the founder, chairperson, since 2009 to the present, of the Alalay sa Pamilya at Bayan Foundation Incorporated. This is the advocacy of revival of high moral and cultural values of the Filipino through campaign for character education, tenacity in public schools. She is also the founding chairperson since 1988 to the present of the Development Advocacy of Women Volunteerism Foundation Incorporated. This promotes women volunteerism and preferential love for the poor through education and livelihood program. She is a consultant since 1985 to the present of EduChild, Education for Upbringing of Children, which is parenting educational programs. And she is the founding chairperson from 1979 to the present of the Professional and Cultural Development of Women Foundation Incorporated, which provides professional and personal development for working men and women in corporations through attitudes, values, and insight development program. Hindi na siya pinakawala, grabe ng lahat. Hanggang present, no? From 1979, this is no other than Miss Annabelle Brown.
Maayong gabi sa inyong tanan. Organizing Committee of Project Sampaguita and their supportive husbands, and of course my very own beloved husband Walter, Father Quaresma, organizers, donors, fellow volunteers, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to be a balik Cebuana. It has been more than 25 years since my husband Walter and I used to come regularly to Cebu for EduChild sessions. It brings back pleasant memories of enjoyable evenings, good food, and happy discussions of family cases, problems, and solutions. I think I saw some familiar faces earlier. May I request the EduChild, those involved in EduChild to kindly stand up to be recognized. I saw Jane. There. Yeah, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you for the privilege of being with you. It is heartwarming and uplifting to be in a gathering of volunteers, benefactors, and beneficiaries celebrating Project Sampaguita. I feel deeply honored to stand here in the same hall where Blessed Alvaro de Portillo addressed many of you when he first came to Cebu in 1987. It has been 29 years, and several educational and developmental initiatives have been established, such as BCPD, Banilat Study Center, and SITE, which would not have been possible without the support and contributions of all of you here present. Congratulations, organizers, donors, students. Blessed Alvaro de Portillo counsels that poverty can be lifted not through short-term solutions, but through a deep work of education. To clarify the meaning of education as defined in Pius XI's Divini Ilius Magistri, it consists essentially in preparing man for what he must be and for what he must do on earth. in order to attain the sublime end for which he was created. So we ask, what must man be and do? Man must be a being who knows, loves, and serves God and his fellow men. A doer of good works for the common good. In one word, a man must be educated to love. He can only reach his earthly fulfillment, his eternal happiness, his end in true love. He cannot live without love, and his life is senseless and meaningless without love. The true love I refer to is a sincere gift of self, one's capacity to give oneself, to be a man or woman for others, developing a social conscience, a sense of responsibility for others, a desire to develop oneself and the world, realizing one's infinite and unlimited capacity for self-transcendence through knowledge and love, going beyond one's own needs toward the good of others, starting with one's own family, friends, and society. Through love, we achieve the true purpose of education and become capable of bringing out the greatness, the dignity and beauty, the music and the fragrance of man. As I read this portion of my speech to my grandchildren, they looked at me, smiled and asked, "Granny, huh? What do you mean?" So I had to think of a simpler way to explain what education and true love means. As always, I sought the advice of Walter, my husband. His answer was, true love is to place the good, the welfare of the loved one above oneself. Oh, that's so hard. Lisod man. I said, is it true love to love another as yourself? No, Walter said. Loving others is higher than loving yourself. It requires sacrifice, self-denial. To which I agreed. Therefore, I would like to describe an educated person as someone who is constantly striving, developing to be a virtuous, self-giving lover who works and serves the common good. Let me tell you the story of Ray and Helen Tejada, a family of humble means from Agusan del Sur. Ray fell in love with Helen and decided he would marry her when they were both 5 years old. They were married 23 years later and blessed with 11 children. Ray supported his family through farming and micro-enterprises, while Helen was an exemplary public school teacher. Like all parents, they wanted to give their children the best education. Ray and Helen were convinced that BCPD will provide the best education for their 8 girls and sight for the 3 boys. They believe and know that their children would receive the best character education and the best technical skills training that would enable them to land good jobs and or pursue higher education. Today, 3 girls have graduated from BCPD, 2 are finishing law degrees, while the 3rd is working at an IBM affiliate. The 2 boys finish in psych and 1 is graduating this October. 3 more young girls are being prepared to enroll in BCPD. So Beth, you can expect them soon. The couple has also convinced more than 200 families from Agusan and Davao to send their children to BCPD and SITE. A feedback from these families is that after only 6 months in these schools, they have seen a significant improvement in their children's attitude, values, and behavior. In addition, the children's transformation has had a multiplier effect on their own families, relatives, friends, and communities. The values of BCPD are so consistent with the vision and core values of DepEd to educate our youth to become makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan, at makabansa. Going back to the theme of my message tonight, which is entitled, Transforming the Family of Families, Crossing the Doors of Mercy Through Volunteerism. The door is symbolic of ourselves, our everyday life. We open wide the door of mercy when we accept the graces, the blessings, and gifts, the merciful love of God. Then, correspondingly with full willingness and full freedom, we voluntarily cross the door, pass the door to the other side, sharing what we have received, what we are, with others, especially the poor, through many spiritual and corporal works of mercy. What is volunteerism? Your very own Chief Justice Hilario Davide had a beautiful description of volunteerism. He says, it is the light of compassion, the sweet fire of love, the flame that gives warmth and brightness, that burns as bright in daylight as in the coldest, darkest night, that fills the void or the emptiness in the life of another person. Again, I asked Walter, what to him was volunteerism? He said simply, it's sharing. Yes, volunteerism is sharing. Sharing one's time, talent, and treasures. Sharing it with others without expecting anything in return. It's practicing the virtues of charity, justice, compassion, and generosity. In fact, even sickness or sufferings can be shared. How? By praying or offering the pain and discomfort for another's intention. Who can be a volunteer? Everyone, young and old, poor or rich, men or women, have something to share. It is said, no one is so poor that he cannot give anything. No one is so rich that he does not need anything. Why should we share? I believe that we are stewards, not owners of the time, talent, and treasures that God entrusts to us. The goods of the earth are for all, though one's possession of time, talent, and treasures is not equal. All are expected to make wise and responsible use of these God-given gifts for themselves, their family, as well as for those who have less in life. Those that are given more is expected. Generosity or self-giving benefits both the giver and the receiver. The joy and self-fulfillment felt by the donor is immeasurable. The blessings the giver receives from God is hundredfold. One young volunteer, when I questioned why he volunteers, answered, I was sent to the U.S. to study. Presently, I have a successful business. But it is only after doing volunteer work that I feel a greater sense of joy and fulfillment. I now live a more meaningful life. In fact, he always says, now I have a life. With whom do we share and how much do we share? There should be order and priority in our allocation of our time, talent, and treasures according to our duties of state. Firstly, as a family member, we prioritize the needs of our spouse and family. We know that family time is precious and critical to the well-being of the family. Each member of the family cherishes moments spent together. It is recommended that families should have a minimum of 16 hours bonding time per week. Check it out. No, that's about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours a day. Eating meals together is included in the 16 hours, but watching TV together is not. When we plan and organize our time well, we will find time to do volunteer work. When we are resourceful and creative in earning money, budgeting and spending it judiciously, being frugal in expenditures, there will be money for savings, investments, and sharing with the poor. The philanthropists Bill and Melinda Gates share, donate almost all of their wealth, leaving only 1% to their children. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, according to Fortune magazine, will give the majority of his personal wealth to charity. How much one donates, it doesn't matter as long as there is love and sacrifice involved. 10%, 50%, 100% is really between you and God. I heard this story recently. There was this rich woman in church who, when the collection box was given to her, reached into her pocket and took out a 10 peso coin and dropped it in the collection box. Then she was tapped on her back by a poor lady who handed her a 1,000 peso bill, which she dropped into the collection box. But the woman felt guilty and ashamed of thinking of her 10 peso donation versus the poor lady's 1,000 peso donation. Then the poor lady tapped her back again and said, "Ma'am, that 1,000 peso bill fell from your pocket." It is said that money you give away are the only riches you bring with you when you die. All the rest you leave behind. When Blessed Alvaro passed by Manila in 1987, he told the women, "You must do something for the poor." That's when the Developmental Advocacy for Women Volunteerism was born, DAW for short. This has generated Alalay sa Pamilya at Bayan Foundation and Campaign for Character Education Tenacity, now directly and continuously working with some 102 public schools, elementary and high schools in National Capital Region and Northern Mindanao. The volunteers give classes on character education and do mentoring to students, teachers, and parents. Doing cachet in public schools, interacting with school children, teachers, and parents leads to reciprocal opportunities and benefits of learning, friendship, unity, and solidarity. It is a dynamic process of give and take, where the volunteer benefits more by way of learning, self-fulfillment, and joy. I remember two mottos that grade 6 students, they're just 11-year-olds, who wrote. One said, "You can love everyone, but give your heart to only one." How deep, no? And for me, my interpretation of that is yes, give your heart to God, and through God's heart, love everyone. And the other one, this is my favorite. The kuto is just, a pest is just around the ulo. The kuto is just around the ulo. So whenever I am bothered, anxious, and worried, or fearful of something, it's just a kuto in my head. I can easily squash it. Tirisin, tudosin. It is also good to teach our children or grandchildren to share and volunteer early. Some parents bring their young children with them when they do volunteer work. One family celebrated their 5-year-old son's birthday with a class of 50 pupils. The father noticed that the birthday boy enjoyed more giving out little gifts and food than receiving them himself. Truly, the spirit of volunteerism and service is applicable wherever we are, in the home, offices, workplace, schools, any gathering, in fact, in any place, anywhere, anytime, all the time. To end, let us leave tonight with the aspiration that Blessed Alvaro often repeats. I call it the magic words that can help transform our lives and the lives of others. Gracias, perdón, ayúdame más. Thank you, forgive me, help me more. Thank you. Being keenly aware and thankful for God's blessings, gifts, and graces, the gift of life, our family, our work, our wealth, all that we are, all that we have, we thank God for His infinite love and tenderness, His constant providence and care. Forgive me, our responses are so limited and weak. Experiencing God's merciful love and forgiveness compels us to move forward with determination and joy to be more generous and more merciful to others too. Help me more. Help me more to cross the doors of mercy through volunteerism and sharing. Help me more to struggle daily to be one with families through many acts of service done with joy, gentleness, and kindness. Help me more to promote the best of all changes, a change of heart, a transformation of families from poverty to the fullness of dignity. Saint Josemaria urges us to drown evil with an abundance of good. To paraphrase, let us overcome poverty and ignorance with an abundant and continuing support of Project Sampaguita. So once again, congratulations to each and everyone. There is much to be done, and all of us together can do much more. The challenge of Blessed Alvaro del Portillo to alleviate poverty is entrusted to all of us, to you and I. Daghang salamat.